We've got some breaking Ravens news, and let's do this. This is perfectly kind of aligned with
Wait.
what we're talking about right now. And so I'm going to do a screen share of Jeff Zarevic's tweet here. Work with us, bear with us here on the fly. The Ravens are bringing some help into the building. Jeff Zarevic's latest here. He just spoke to Zack Orr, who said he's bringing on longtime NFL assistant and defensive coordinator Dean Pease for a senior advisor role.
Ooh.
Jeff's quote after speaking with Zack is that he is a guy who knows me as a person, knows the system, knows the culture here. He's a Raven. Dean Pease is starting this week in Baltimore. And if that's not the best news you've heard this week, or maybe even this season, it may not seem like much, but that dude knows the building, Sarah. As Zack said, he knows Zack, and he is an accomplished DC in this league. Great decision by Zack.
That's crazy. I don't remember Pease ending on a great note in Baltimore. Call me crazy. Been lots of good defensive coordinators, and I thought he was a good D coordinator. But like, if you had to rank him, I wouldn't put him towards the top. That being said, it's still Zack Orr's defense, and if he wants a veteran coach that can give him another perspective, here's what I want to say about this from Zack Orr's perspective. I immature people are afraid to show that they need help. Okay, perfect example. I have a daughter who has a coach who's super young, and she is. You can tell she's afraid to get any feedback from parents, right? But a more veteran, seasoned coach would say, "Oh yeah, give me your feedback. We're cool. Like we'll learn from each other." To me, this says a lot about Zack. That it's like, I'm not going to be too proud to bring in a move like this where it's a former Ravens defensive coordinator. He is a veteran guy. He is experienced, and I'm not too proud to bring him in. I'm not too insecure to bring him in. Right?
Totally with you.
Because you know what I mean? Like there's so many
Totally.
people that just can't even admit that some help can be used. And so I like that from Zack's perspective. That to me tells me that he is a secure guy because he can listen and he is open to help. So I really, really appreciate that from him.
I totally
Um,
agree.
and like I said, Dean Pease, I need to go back and look it up how the Ravens ranked under him. I don't remember it being the highest, but that doesn't matter. This isn't his defense. He's here to bring another perspective, and I'm cool with that. I'm definitely cool with that. We talked about Sala being a guy that's like, hey, bring in a veteran voice, just give another perspective. Because how many veteran voices did you point out that the Ravens lost last year? So
Ooh,
yes, Mike Mack did a good job, and he's doing a great job in Seattle.
yep.
But do we underestimate how part of him being so great is that he could listen to so many experienced veteran
Right.
voices? So why not bring in another one of those for Zack Orr after the defensive coaching staff was just gutted?
If you are just tuning in, almost perfectly aligned with what we were discussing,
Yes.
a film breakdown on the defensive miscues in recent weeks, particularly Sunday in Cincinnati. We've got some breaking news. Jeff Zarebeck of The Athletic just had a conversation with Ravens defensive coordinator Zack Orr, who told him that he is bringing on longtime NFL assistant, defensive coordinator, got a lot of NFL experience, Dean Pease, for a senior advisor role. He is 75 years old. He was
Whew.
Baltimore's defensive coordinator from 2012 to 2017. He coached Orr, has been a mentor of Zach's. They talked about potentially bringing him on board this summer in a follow-up tweet here from Jeff, but decided the time was right now. He is going to be on the practice field today and in defensive meetings. This is happening now. This looks like it already happened. And this is your breaking Ravens news just within the last couple minutes. More from Zach. Jeff is just firing off tweets right now. He is the best in the business. Quote, I stayed in contact with Dean throughout the season, and I said, quote, hey, it would be good if you wanted to come up here and be an advisor, be another set of eyes, just be a help to us. Ultimately, all I care about is us performing the best that we can help us to win. So Yeah, I think what you said and your instant reaction to this is absolutely perfect. This is a 32-year-old defensive coordinator who, as Rex Ryan has said multiple times in recent weeks, is coaching from a book. He is
Yes.
newly minted. He is drinking from the fire hose. There has been a significant amount of change and turnover since last year's historic group, led by Mike Mack, led by guys like Jadeveon Clowney and Patrick Queen and Geno Stone, all of whom left in free agency, led by longtime assistants like Anthony Weaver, who's got a tremendous amount of experience under his belt, who left for a DC opening in Miami, led by Denard Wilson, who was great for the secondary. Again, just a player guy who left for Tennessee to become a DC. There was a lot to overcome here, and I think it's wise of a young Zack Orr to make this decision today.
Very, very wise. Like I said, I like a veteran voice to be in there. Dean Pease was in Baltimore from 2012 to 2017. After he left, he went on, was the coordinator for the Tennessee Titans 2018-19, and then the Atlanta Falcons 21-22. So if I remember correctly, Dean Pease had like retired at 2017, right? And then he unretired. So I think what was if I remember correctly, and the live chat can tell me otherwise, I think the frustration when Dean Pease was here was too much prevent defense. And so you would like suddenly be, that's like the defensive version of just like trying to run out the clock on offense, right? By running and not being aggressive anymore. So Dean Pease, it was like late in the game when you have the lead, he'd go into the prevent defense, which would obviously give up a lot of yards. So I think that was the knock on him. But I mean, he had a 5-year stay here. And I'm still trying to look up the rankings of the Ravens defense during those 5 years, but I haven't been able to find it yet.
Well, if you do, let me know. I'll get some super chats in here as well. We appreciate you guys for being with us today. We've got some breaking news. Dean Pease is going to serve as a senior advisor to Zack Orr's defense. 75-year-old, Zack's 32. Certainly can't hurt. Oots, thanks for the $10 super chat donation. Zack Orr is one of the hardest working humans in the building, doing his first DC gig ever. We as the flock need to rally around him. He will be great for us, just like he has always been. Patience, preaching patience. Thanks, Oots. Truth Bearer already noted this a minute ago. Dean Pease, last 2 years on the Ravens, our defense was ranked 9th and 6th in 2016 and 2017 in scoring defense. Jeremy Uphoff says, how about today's Spencer Schultz Twitter Lamar Jackson sack stat? Haven't seen that one yet, but Spenny's always on top of it. And Guacamole says, going to the game, Bobby. I hope to see you there. I will not be there. On Sunday, I will be at the Be More Around Town tailgate pregame and then rushing over to my at-home studio, as Sarah and I always do, so we can work out of our Google Doc and our Google Slides to get ready for our post-game show. So if you're just tuning in, we've got over 2,700 of you concurrently with us right now for this breaking news. Sarah, did you find anything else before we get back to the defensive clips?
Why don't you, can you share the slide on Cole Jackson has Zack Orr through 5 weeks and Mike McDonald through his first 5 weeks. Remember we were asking about that yesterday?
Let's see here. We were asking about it yesterday. We didn't put it into today's, but I do have.
Not put it in?
I do have leftover from what I used yesterday. So stand by.
Hold on a second.
No, hold up. Right that was yesterday's though. So, okay. So yeah, go ahead.
This was yesterday's.
Yeah, you didn't. It's okay. It's all good. I pulled that in from yesterday's.
I don't think so, but we'll talk about that later. He said, so here it is through 5 weeks. Why don't you read it through so I can keep looking up these rankings? 5 weeks, Mike McDonald versus the first 5 weeks for Zack Orr.
Yeah. So this is what we were wondering, right? 2022 defense, through 5 weeks, which was a 3-2 record for the 2022 Ravens. They allowed over 1,400 passing yards, 1,451 to be exact. They played quarterbacks that included Joe Flacco, Tua, Mac Jones, Josh Allen, and Joe Burrow that year. They allowed 540 rushing yards, which came to over 1,900 total yards allowed, 1,991 to be exact. So now he, again, cross-compared here to this year through 5 weeks. Also a 3-2 record for the Ravens. They've allowed 1,401 passing yards. They've faced Patrick Mahomes, Gardner Minshew, Dak Prescott, Josh Allen, and Joe Burrow. They've allowed 302 rushing yards for a total of 1,703 total yards. So, all things considered, they've
Very
allowed
similar.
less passing yards. We're nitpicking a little bit, but they've allowed less in all three categories. But it is, which is the part of the bigger picture here, there is some similarities here between the two first opening starts of the seasons.
This will be interesting. I wonder if the media is going to be able to talk to Dean Pease specifically. And check reply of your last tweet says Truth. Look at Truth. He's helping me out here.
He's doing the Lord's work here.
Listen, you know what? I appreciate
and you do that, Sarah, because
Okay.
more from Jeff here. And again,
Oh,
thank
boy.
you for your patience, guys, on the fly work here with the Dean Pease stuff. Sarah, you were right. I pulled in the wrong slide, so sorry about that. We're doing some juggling here. And more from Zack Orr. Quote, if you get a guy I'm real close with, and a guy who knows the culture and is a great football mind, and he's down for it, to me, it's a no-brainer. Jeff goes on to write, the Ravens have a young defensive staff in terms of NFL experience in certain spots, and Dean Pease has 4 different stints as an NFL defensive coordinator. Truth bearer doing a whole lot of work.
He got me, man. He got me. This is great. Love him. Love him. Okay, so
now how about I screen share it? You want to navigate to me? Let me know where it is, and you read it, and I'll bring it up.
Sure. Here, let me send it to you via. You want it via Twitter DMs?
You do that. We'll get to some super chats while you do that. TY says we just need the defense to show up for 4 quarters of football. It's that simple. 77 Figures says Pease gave up 2 14-point leads against the Pats in 2014, and he hasn't forgotten. He's keeping Dean Pease on record here for the 2014 season, 10 years ago. Oh, man.
I think it's because of that prevent defense that people were ticked off about it. So.
Okay.
So not necessarily helpful in the fourth quarter based off of the history, but again, we've got wounds, right? Like I still like this move. I don't want to, downplay it too much, but okay. Did you get it?
Off to PFF we go.
Thank you, Truth Bearer. You are the best. So if we zoom in here to 2012, and then we can look at rankings here. Can you scroll up a little bit so I can see? Okay, rankings. So defensive ranking yards in 2012, 17th. Then, so I'm going to go from 2012, from 2012 up to 2017. So I'm going to put it in that order going forward. So if I look at the yards here, ranked 17, then 12, then 8. So there you go. 17, then down 1 is 12. Bobby, go down to 13. There you go. 12, 8, 8, 7, 12. So first year he was number 17. Most years about top 10.
Mm-hmm.
Points per game. The Ravens ranked under him 12, 12, 6, then 24 in 2015. But that was a bad year. Joe Flacco was injured that year. 24, 9, and then 6. So if you want to take 2015 out as an outlier when you don't have a quarterback and, you don't have that to play to your advantage, typically had him in top 10 for points per game on defense.
Okay.
I don't remember it being absolutely stellar, but it was doable. So, but again, this is not his defense. I want to put that together. No, it's just a veteran voice, right? It's a veteran voice that gives Zack Orr another perspective.
And that right there is your impromptu breaking news segment in mid live stream on the newest member as a senior advisor to Zack Orr's defensive staff.